Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Wishwell Farms. My name is Jason, and today is somewhat of a bittersweet day for our farm. Today is our final day of vegetable harvest for 2025. Final corn harvest of 2025. We got 16 rows to pick today. It doesn't look that great, but I'm just happy to have corn this deep into October. Most of it is junk because of the drought, but there are still some nice ears out here. The ears are pretty small. Here's one that feels bad. Let's take a look at it. I'll show you what we're dealing with. I'm not picking stuff like that. That's terrible. You know, no tip fill. I mean, it's really nice eating corn. I had some for lunch yesterday. It was amazing, but you know, I can't pick stuff like that. A lot of the corn has been snipped off by deer, but you can see we got a nice section coming up. The thing is, the nice section is about 50 feet long. It's chilly out here today. I think we're going to get a frost this week. My hands aren't used to this cold weather. It's been so hot during September and early October. I think it's in the upper 40s, low 50s today. It might be upper 40s, mid 40s. I don't know. It's pretty chilly. 48 degrees. You can see my breath. We got Elijah and Gavin out here picking with me. Elijah, someone was asking when you're starting aviation school, or are you already doing that?
I'm already doing it, just slowly. This winter starts, I'm gonna start picking it up a lot.
Okay. Man, if the whole patch was like this section right here, we would probably get what we need. Now that we're wrapping up sweet corn harvest season, I'll get you guys the totals on what our yield was for the entire season. I don't really know off the top of my head. I'm guessing 15 to 20,000 dozen, something like that. But it's hard to believe it's over already. But all good things have to come to an end. Well, that's a wrap on sweet corn season 2025. This is all we got. Maybe 35 dozen. You know, I had more acreage. I could have put probably 2 more acres out back in mid-July when I planted this patch that we're standing in right now. However, I'm glad I didn't, because it would have been a lot of wasted seed, chemicals, fertilizer because of the drought. You know, the drought was so bad for us this year. Our yields have been down probably 80–90% from normal for these last 3 weeks, and it would have been the same in this other 2 acres, this next 2 acres that I could have planted. So knowing what I know now, I'm glad I didn't plant that, and we're wrapping it up today. All right, we're moving on to bell peppers and cauliflower next. Well guys, how's it feel to be done with sweet corn? Does it also feel bittersweet, or is it excitement and joy?
I was actually sad this morning thinking it was the last regular farm day.
Yeah.
Yep, our last big day of harvest. It's not even gonna be a big day. Our last little day of harvest. When you're in the middle of it, back in August, it seems like it's never gonna end. And the fields go on and on and on.
Yeah, 12:30 in the 100 degrees.
Yeah. But here we are approaching mid-October. It's cold out. We got a frost coming later this week. Farmers markets are done after this weekend. Time to wrap up this season. Final 40 dozen of the season going into the cooler. All right, we're out in the pepper patch and we're starting on jalapenos. The green ones still look really nice. Let me show you what's happening to the red ones though. After having 2 rains, see how they're all blowing out, splitting, cracked. So we're mainly going for green ones today. And we forgot to bring our hampers out, so we're just throwing them right into the green tub. They definitely don't look as nice as they did last week. We got so many morning glory out here, the tub sits on top of it. Wow.
Didn't even budge.
Yeah, I always get asked, what are these purple and pink flowers out here? This is an invasive weed that has gotten in our fields, in this particular field, over the last decade, 15 years, called morning glory. And we do our best to eradicate them in the aisleway, and we pull them out of the holes after we transplant. They start sprouting up alongside the peppers. We pull them all out, but more keep coming and coming, and we just can't keep on top of them. Then they vine all over the place and get tangled up in your eggplant and peppers. They're not really causing that big of an issue this year. Sometimes it even shades out the sun from the peppers and helps them look better. But it does make it a pain in the butt to find the peppers sometimes because they're so tangled up in these vines. So I know some of you had questions about, are they planted on purpose? Do they help with pollinating? I would say no and no. They're not wanted or needed, and we don't plant them. It's just something we have to deal with in this field, and that's why we're moving out of this field next year for most of our vegetable crops. We're gonna put soybeans here so we can get this field cleaned up. I'm gonna try to rotate out of this field for the next 3, 4, 5 years. So that seed bank that's in the soil, which is where all these weeds are coming from, you know, they're surviving year after year in the soil. We can try to eradicate those by rotating out of here for several years. Hopefully, that's the plan.
Easier. The morning glory wasn't so thick.
Yeah, it's a little thick.
Doesn't help that each like seed flower drops like 10 seeds or something.
Yeah.
That's so many.
Yeah, we don't want these flowers to fully mature and go to seed. So we're probably gonna get a frost this week, and that will kill all the pepper plants as long as it's a hard frost. If it's a light frost, they'll still survive. But once we get a hard frost, all the pepper plants will be dead. We'll mow them down along with the morning glory, and that will prevent all these flowers from going to seed.
Some of them somewhere were already busting their seeds.
Yeah, don't want that, but it happens. You know, even over there where we had our early sweet corn, now that we've had rain, a bunch of new morning glory have sprouted up, so I'm gonna have to get those sprayed. So they don't have a chance to go to seed. I'm not used to picking in all this wet and cold weather. Usually it's hot, humid, dry, but today everything is wet after these rains we got yesterday. But at least it's not cold anymore. It's warmed up into the 50s, and these wet plants aren't making my hands cold now.
Do you think this is a different variety of pepper?
Yeah, what the heck
Is
is
it like a
this?
stunted?
Oh my, yeah, I don't know.
I've never seen it like that.
It looks like a mutated
Yeah.
jalapeno because there's some bigger ones down here, but they are very stunted. Huh, I haven't seen that one this year. Could be a virus. Probably got one basket full. We'll get a little bit more here.
Then we go down and throw banana peppers on top of it too.
Yeah, this
They
sold good
sold
last
so
week,
good,
didn't they?
yeah.
The majority of our bell peppers have rotted. We're just trying to find a couple tubs of nice red ones or multicolored ones or big green ones. Now, see, even that green one I just picked is bad. All right, we're just gonna try to fill 2 tubs, so we don't need a whole lot. I still have some in the cooler from last week. Every now and then you find some good ones hiding down underneath the plants. This is one of those seasons where the bell peppers kind of had fizzled out on us quicker than normal. Many years in the past, we would have good yields all the way, or good harvests all the way up till frost, till early to mid-October, which is where we're at now. But these things have been on a downhill slide for several weeks now. Probably the extreme hot, dry weather did them in. There were even several years in the past that I remember picking an entire sweet corn wagon full. We would clean out the entire pepper patch and send them off to the food bank. You know, we would get hundreds and hundreds of bushels, but not this year. We're gonna be lucky to get enough for our last 2 farmers markets this Saturday. There's a beauty. Yeah, I find some really nice red ones now. We'll probably have to run these through the washer today. They're pretty dirty. They will sell so much better if we clean them up a little bit. These last couple of weeks, since we've only been picking several bushels and they've been clean and dry, we haven't washed them. All right, we're gonna top off this tub with banana peppers. Elijah's bringing the tractor and wagon and tubs down here because we're finding some nice bell peppers down here at the end. Yep, we're at that spot where we have like every other plant. It's a jalapeno down through here mixed with the banana peppers. Yeah, those are nice. Customers have been loving these banana peppers that turned colors, but most of them have been picked. There's not a lot of them with color now. More of them are yellow today, and some are starting to turn. Man, it's a crazy feeling knowing this is the final day of harvest of pretty much everything. I think we're done because this Saturday at the farmers markets is our final day of sales for 2025. All right, now we're getting our final harvest of eggplant, and they are looking rough. They're all turning brown like this. So we're just looking for dark, shiny ones like that, even though, well, we don't want a bunch of blemishes on them. But we're looking for the darker ones that kind of have a black color still, even if they are a little bit on the small side. And we'll just reduce our price to $1 each to $7.50. I normally don't wash my eggplant because I feel like our brushes scuff up the skin a little bit. So we're trying to just pick clean ones. But a lot of these plants are leaning out into the aisleway now and have mud all over them. I have one of these old pair of snippers. These do not work well on eggplant, but it's all I got. The other three have the good ones. There's another one right there.
That?
Yeah.
Teeny.
I know. Some people like the small ones. They don't have smaller seed cavities. There's some nice ones. We're back out in the cauliflower patch for our final harvest, and they are looking gorgeous. Wow. Nice and big and white. Yeah, I mean a little bit of pink, purple starting to show up from the sun, but not bad. And what I'm happy to see is not a bunch of eggs being laid on the curd. So you can see all of these have been harvested. This was an earlier variety. I don't remember which one this is. I know I put the names up on a prior video, what varieties I have out here, but I'm gonna do it again for you right now. Row 1, row 2, row 3, and right here on row 3, we have a mixture of white on the right and that ugly putrid green looking cauliflower on the left. Row 4, looks like it was white on the right and clementine or cheddar. No, flame star. It was clementine and flame star down that way. And this was all de purple. And there's some weird shades of de purple there. My goodness. So we will take a quick look at these, but I'm pretty sure the colored ones are done. We're just picking white today. I am so surprised this variety still has good ones. I thought they were all going to be turning colors on me. See all those beautiful tight wrapper leaves? That really protects them from the sun and from the moths laying eggs on the white curd. This one, I don't know if the camera will pick it up, but it's starting to have purple on it because it's been open and exposed to the sun last week. Another nice one. There, here's one full of eggs. We're not going to harvest this one. I don't know if the GoPro can pick it up, but there's speckles. It almost looks like pepper. It almost looks like someone shook pepper on the top of that cauliflower head. That's kind of disgusting. Here's a beauty down in here. Look at all those tight wrapper leaves protecting it. Nice. There's one that's turning yellow and purple. We'll have to leave. So about 90% of the cauliflower has been harvested in these 3 rows, and probably 50% over here, but we lost probably 30 or 40% in between 2 weeks. So 1 week we were harvesting out here, they weren't ready, so we had to leave a lot of them because they were too small. Then we came back out the next week and they had all gotten too big and ruined from the heat and the sun. So this was a tough year for cauliflower and broccoli because of the extreme heat. You know, I did keep them watered really well, so they had plenty of irrigation. They got the moisture they needed. The bug pressure was really bad this year. I usually try to control my all my caterpillars and worms and all that stuff in my co-crops, my brassicas, using BT, Bacillus thuringiensis, I always forget how you say that, but it's a BT. It's a natural occurring biological fungus type stuff that eradicates all worms. But these little moths flying around here, I can see them fluttering all over. The GoPro's not gonna pick them up. They have been really, really tough to control this year. And if you look at my leaves really close, you know, they look like they've been shot with a shotgun, like there's buckshot that blew through the leaves. That is where these little moths have eaten holes through them, and a lot of them are laying eggs on the broccoli and cauliflower. And I've had to resort to using a conventional pyrethroid to control some of these bugs, or we would have lost our entire crop. I don't like to do that, but when I have to choose between losing the entire crop versus staying chemical free, I'm going to choose not losing my entire crop. All right, we're in a section that's all harvested. So we're not gonna get as much as I thought out here. You know, sometimes you miss them. We missed that one last week, or, you know, it's too far gone. Obviously that one is. There's still some nice ones out here though. These rows are about 450 feet long. So we're gonna go through all of them and try to get just about a dozen tubs today. So not a lot, just enough to finish strong at the farmers markets this Saturday. One thing I'm not happy about this Saturday is that we have another home Ohio State Buckeye game. The Ohio State University Buckeyes are playing at home, and that always kills business when it's a noon game. So the 3:30 games or the 7:30 at night games are far better for the farmers market sales. So, you know, I don't expect a lot of strong sales after 11 a.m. this weekend because of the home game at noon. Look at this hideous looking clementine or flame star. Ugh, covered in mold. That happened to a lot of them. They do not like the hot weather. Completely shot. We missed the harvest window on most of these. I just thought of one more thing that I have not discussed yet about our cauliflower crop, and that is wrapping the leaves, pulling the leaves up and wrapping them with rubber bands. So for many, many years, probably for almost a decade or 15 years, we would wrap every single cauliflower. So we would gather the leaves and pull them into a bunch in the center and put a rubber band on them. And that's what you had to do to protect the curd, specifically on the white ones. But the genetics have improved so much on the white cauliflower that it's not really necessary anymore. The wrapper leaves are so tight and so wrapped around the white curd that it protects them from the sun probably 90% of the time. So it's no longer needed for us to come through here and waste our time pulling up the leaves and wrapping them. But for many, many years, that was common practice around the country, around the world, I imagine, wrapping cauliflower. And it was not a fun job. And then you can't see when they're the right size to harvest. You almost have to put your hand down in there and feel the curd to see how large it is before you cut it, because it's covered up by all the leaves that have been wrapped. I think I like this variety the best.
I think it's the best one.
Yeah. So for those of you who are cauliflower growers or thinking about getting into growing cauliflower, this variety is our favorite. I'm gonna put the variety on the screen right now, right there. This is the final wash of 2025. Just 3 tubs of bell peppers and 3 tubs of eggplant. Gonna send them through the washer and get them in the cooler. They're not very dirty, so it shouldn't take long to clean them up. They look pretty. Nice looking peppers. This tub's almost all red. The red ones sell really well. All right, the first time washing eggplant this year. We just want to send them through really quick to wash off the mud. Don't want them to sit in there and scrub too long because it'll scuff them up. Nice and clean. Sometimes we just send an empty tub through upside down to push everything out. Otherwise, you got to reach your arm in there and get the ones that are stuck in there just spinning. Alrighty folks, that's a wrap on Vegetable Harvest 2025. I can't believe it's already here. But just because we're finished harvesting vegetables doesn't mean we are finished farming. We have a lot of things happening around the farm in October and November. So one of the first things we're going to be working on here in the next week or two is removing all of our mulch films from our raised beds and the drip irrigation and disposing of that, so we can start cultivating some of our ground to get ready for next year's crops. So we're going to be going over a lot of the planning for next season's vegetables that we're going to be growing. And I also plan to share some details about our yields. I'm going to let you know what crops did the best for us on our farm this year and some of the crops that performed poorly. So we're going to be going over a lot of those numbers on yields and talking about some of the crops that I'm looking forward to growing again, and some that I will be letting go for the 2026 season. Another thing that's still happening around the farm is we have a lot of cleanup happening in our greenhouses. So we're going to finish cleaning all those out and getting them prepped for next season because it's only 3 months away. It's hard to believe that we're going to be starting our greenhouse tomatoes in just 3 months. That is going to come quickly. And one of the things that I am most excited about sharing with you folks on my channel are some of these fruit and vegetable farm visits that I have coming up in the month of October. So I'm going to be traveling away from my farm, visiting with these other farms, doing some filming with them, and showcasing those videos on my channel for you. So I'm really looking forward to that, and I hope you guys are too. Also, this weekend is our final farmers market weekend at Clintonville and Worthington farmers markets. I will not be there myself, but I have asked Emma, Gavin, and Elijah to do some filming. So enjoy some scenes of the Worthington and Clintonville farmers market here at the end of the video. And finally, last of all, I do spend some time traveling in the off season during October, November, and December. I'll be doing some RV camping with my wife. I'll be doing some solo backpacking. So if those things sound interesting to you, check out my other channel. It's called Jason Wish. I'll drop the link down below if you want to check those out. This is where we're going to wrap this one up today, folks. As always, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And don't forget to like the video if you enjoyed it. And I will see you all again next time down on the farm.
it.